and thank you for joining me in today's video. I have here with me the lovely Ross from Bankruptcy Advisory. So thank you for joining me today, Ross. And the reason that I wanted to do these videos is to really shed some light on the current issues in terms of what's happening around the world, in particular Australia, with the second big wave of COVID. And I know a lot of business owners that I've spoken to have businesses in Perth, in Melbourne, in Sydney, in Brisbane, all around. So this might be a silly question, it might not be, but I just wanted to ask you, if let's say there was a business in Perth, but they had, same business, but different offices all around Australia, and like Sydney and Melbourne were struggling big time because of obviously the lockdowns, does that mean they need to go insolvent or bankrupt, or how does that affect their business in Perth? Because I know a lot of people that are probably watching do have businesses all around Australia, but let's say Sydney and Melbourne are struggling. What would be your advice?
Okay. Depends a lot on the actual structure of the businesses.
Yeah.
If you've got a controlling company and each business is run under a separate entity, which is probably the more common type of franchise type scenario, each individual company can be dealt with separately.
And will that have an effect on the person at the end? Like if John Smith, for example, was the owner of all these companies, would that have a bad credit effect on John in WA, for example? Not
necessarily. As far as a company that goes into liquidation is separate to the directors.
Got ya.
So unless there is some fallout from the liquidation that comes back onto the director, then the director won't be impacted by the liquidation of the company. Okay. But if, for instance, you've got a company with multi-level entities around the country, it is possible to focus an insolvency appointment on that one entity, allowing the other entities to trade on, and we can put some form of proposal restructure in place to look at that one entity. We'd need to find out why that one branch is failing. Yeah, well, maybe because of all the
lockdowns and people not being able to trade.
COVID would be an obvious one.
Totally, yeah.
And if that's the case, then fine. We can look at ways of either putting that company on ice so it doesn't happen to get anything further, or looking at some form of restructure to resolve the issue and move forward. Yeah. No, that's really great advice. Well, thank you so much. And anybody that is watching that has any questions around that, or does have a business in Sydney and Melbourne and Perth and all the rest and does need a bit of advice, definitely reach out to Bankruptcy Advisory. So thank you so much, Ross. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us.